Right. So scaling a startup, I know it's like a dream for so many people out there, picturing your idea just like exploding onto the scene. But um, getting from great idea to a global phenomenon, that takes serious know-how. And uh, luckily for us, we get to kind of peek behind the curtain and learn from the giants who've actually done it. Like we're talking Brian Chesky from Airbnb, Reid Hoffman of LinkedIn, even Elon Musk.
Yeah, what I think is so fascinating is that we're not just talking about like overnight successes here. These are people who built companies that have like fundamentally changed how we live and work. And while they all took kind of different paths, there are some surprisingly common threads in their scaling strategies.
That's exactly what we're going to unpack today. Those core lessons that help them go from small startup to industry titan. And hopefully, you listening can snag a few moves from their playbook to apply to your own venture.
Now, before get swept up in all the excitement of like massive growth, it's crucial to remember that scaling isn't just about getting big fast. It's about building a company that can handle that growth without falling apart at the seams.
Okay, so like laying a solid foundation before you start adding flavors to your skyscraper.
Exactly. And that's where our first lesson comes in, courtesy of Brian Chesky, Airbnb's co-founder. He's a big believer in nailing your core offering before you even think about scaling up. One of his famous quotes is, do things that don't scale at first, but always keep your core product in focus.
I feel like there's a story here.
Oh, absolutely. Think about Airbnb's early days. I mean, they were far from a tech giant back then. In fact, Chesky and his co-founder, Joe Gebbia, would personally visit hosts' apartments, taking high-quality photos themselves to make the listings more appealing.
So not exactly scalable.
Not at all, but it allowed them to create an amazing user experience right from the start. Building trust with both hosts and guests, it was about perfecting the core before worrying about reaching millions of users.
So you're saying that scaling amplifies everything, the good and the bad.
Precisely. If your core product or service has flaws, scaling up won't magically fix them. It'll just make them more obvious. That's why it's so important to get things right from the get-go.
All right, so let's bring this home for our listeners. What would perfecting the core look like for someone who's maybe running a food delivery service?
Yeah, it could mean obsessing over the quality of the food, the delivery times, the ease of ordering, all those things that create a truly delightful experience for the customer, even if you're just starting out. Focus on making those elements exceptional.
Got it. Makes sense. So strong foundation check. What's the next building block for a company ready to scale?
This one might seem obvious, but it's often overlooked, especially by super passionate founders who are used to doing it all. Teamwork.
Hmm.
Reid Hoffman, LinkedIn's co-founder, nailed it when he said, "No matter how brilliant my mind or strategy, if you're playing a solo game, you'll always lose out to a team."
I get the value of a team, but like early on, as a founder, isn't it tempting to just do it all yourself because you have the vision so clearly?
It definitely is. However, that mindset can become a bottleneck when you're trying to scale. Think about it. You need people to help you execute your vision. People with diverse skills and perspectives who can, like, take ownership of different parts of the business.
Okay, so it's less about being a one-man show and more about building an all-star team.
Exactly. And as your company scales, your role as a founder shifts too. You become less of a doer and more of an enabler, empowering your team to succeed. Delegation becomes crucial, but it's an art form in itself.
Oh, tell me about it. I once tried to delegate a social media campaign, and it ended up with our account posting cat memes at 3 a.m. Not the best look.
It happens. Finding the right people and setting them up for success is key. You're essentially trusting them with a piece of your dream. So it's not something to be taken lightly.
All right, so strong core offering and a killer team. What's the secret sauce that helps take things to the next level?
Well, for our next lesson, let's turn to the master of scaling himself, Elon Musk. While he's known for his bold ventures like Tesla and SpaceX, what's often overlooked is his strategic use of technology to achieve massive growth.
Wait, so we're not talking about him launching a rocket.
Not this time. Think about Tesla's manufacturing process. They've heavily automated their factories using robots and advanced software that streamline production and achieve incredible efficiency. This allows them to scale production without sacrificing quality, which is a major challenge for many companies.
So he's basically turned tech into a scaling superpower. But how does that translate for someone who's not building electric cars?
That's the beauty of it. These principles can be applied across industries. Think about your own startup. What are the processes that could be automated or streamlined? Using technology, it could be anything from customer support to marketing to inventory management.
Okay, I see. I'm starting to see how tech can be like a game changer. Like if you can automate the right parts of your business, you can free up so much time and resources to focus on growth
Exactly. It's not just about having shiny gadgets. It's about using tech strategically to unlock efficiency and scale. For example, let's say you're running an e-commerce store. You could implement chatbots to handle those like basic customer inquiries, freeing up your human support team to focus on the more complex issues.
Right? Or what about if you're creating online courses? You could use software to automate, like your email sequences, deliver content, even track student progress, all things that would take like a ton of manual effort
Now
otherwise.
you're getting it. These are just a few examples, but the possibilities are pretty much endless. The key is to identify the bottlenecks in your business and see if there's a tech solution that can help you streamline things.
This has been super helpful. I'm already thinking about areas in my own business that I could automate. But before I get too carried away with robots and algorithms, let's not forget about the heart of any successful business, the customers.
You're absolutely right. Building a loyal customer base is essential for sustainable growth. And on that note, let's turn to the king of customer obsession himself, Jeff Bezos. His famous quote, "We see our customers as invited guests to a party, and we are the hosts. It's our job to make the customer experience a little bit better every day." Perfectly encapsulates Amazon's customer-centric approach.
And it's not just talk, right? Amazon is known for constantly innovating. Based on customer feedback, they're always looking for ways to make the shopping experience smoother, more personalized, and more delightful.
Exactly, they understand that happy customers are repeat customers, and repeat customers are the engine of long-term growth. Now I know we're not all running businesses on the scale of Amazon, but this principle applies to everyone.
So it was like one simple thing that a small business owner could do today to improve their customer experience, even without a massive tech budget.
It could be something as simple as sending a personalized thank you email after a purchase, responding to inquiries promptly, or proactively asking for feedback and active on it. These small gestures can go a long way in building loyalty and turning customers into advocates.
Okay, that's manageable. Even for a solopreneur just starting out now, as you scale and start building that loyal customer base, you might need an injection of capital to fuel your growth.
That's right, funding is often a critical piece of the scaling puzzle. But as Spanx founder Sarah Blakely wisely said, don't rush to raise money. Make sure it's the right kind of funding at the right time.
So it's not just about grabbing the first check that comes your way.
Not at all. Choosing your funding wisely is crucial. It's about finding the right partners who align with your vision and can offer more than just money. The right investor can bring valuable mentorship, connections, industry expertise, and even a shared passion for what you're building.
It's like choosing a business partner, not just a bank. And I imagine like a bad investor fit can really backfire.
Absolutely. It can lead to conflicts, misaligned goals, and even damage to your company culture. I've seen it happen firsthand. A friend of mine had an investor who was so focused on short-term profits that they pressured her to cut corners on quality, which ultimately hurt the brand's reputation.
Oof. That's a cautionary tale right there. So how do you avoid falling into that trap?
Due diligence is key. Do your research on potential investors, talk to other founders they've backed, and make sure their values align with yours. This is a relationship that will shape the future of your company, so you want to make sure it's a good fit from the start.
Great advice. So we've covered a lot of ground so far, from nailing the core offering to building a strong team, leveraging tech strategically, prioritizing the customer experience, and choosing the right funding. It's a lot to process.
It is, but don't feel overwhelmed. Remember, you don't have to implement everything at once. Pick one or two areas that resonate with you and focus on making small, incremental improvements over time. Consistency is key when it comes to scaling.
I love that. It's about progress, not perfection. But before we get too zen about it all, let's shift gears and get a little more tactical. We've talked about these big picture concepts, but what are some practical steps that listeners can take to start implementing these lessons in their own businesses?
That's a great question. Let's start with something that's often overlooked but incredibly important. As you scale, documenting your processes.
So we're talking about creating those infamous standard operating procedures, or SOPs.
Exactly. Think of SOPs as your company's playbook. They outline step-by-step instructions for everything, from onboarding new employees to fulfilling orders to handling customer complaints. Having clear SOPs not only streamlines operations, but also empowers your team to work independently and efficiently.
And as your team grows, having those documented processes in place becomes even more crucial, right?
Absolutely. It helps ensure consistency, reduces errors, and makes training new hires a breeze. Plus, when you eventually start delegating more responsibilities, having clear SOPs gives you peace of mind, knowing that things will run smoothly, even when you're not directly involved.
Okay, so SOPs check. What else should we be thinking about from a tactical standpoint?
As you scale, it's crucial to keep a close eye on your key performance indicators, or KPIs. These are the metrics that tell you how your business is doing and where you need to focus your efforts.
Like having a dashboard for your startup, right? Showing you your speed, fuel level, and engine temperature. You wouldn't drive a car without checking those gauges, would that?
Precisely. Your KPIs will depend on your specific business, but some common ones include customer acquisition cost, customer lifetime value, conversion rates, and churn rate. By tracking these metrics, you can spot trends, identify areas for improvement, and make data-driven decisions about where to allocate your resources.
So it's all about staying informed and being able to adapt quickly. As things change,
Exactly. Which brings us to another crucial aspect of scaling. Staying agile, the startup world is constantly evolving, so you need to be able to pivot or adjust your strategy as needed. Think of it like navigating a winding road. You can't always predict what's around the bend, so you need to be ready to steer the wheel and adjust your course.
that makes sense. It's about being flexible and embracing the unexpected, right?
Right, and don't be afraid to experiment. Sometimes the best solutions emerge from trying new things and learning from your mistakes. Now, as you scale, getting the word out about your amazing product or service becomes even more important. Don't skimp on marketing and branding.
Yeah, you can have the best product in the world, but if nobody knows about it, you're not going anywhere. So how do you approach marketing when you're trying to scale?
It's about finding the channels that resonate with your target audience and making a splash. Whether it's content marketing, social media advertising, public relations, or influencer collaborations, invest in strategies that will help you reach more people and tell your story effectively.
Okay, so we've got our processes documented, we're tracking our KPIs, we're staying agile, and we're investing in marketing. What else is crucial for navigating this wild ride of scaling a startup?
This one might seem obvious, but it's often overlooked. Take care of yourself. Scaling a startup can be an exhilarating, but also incredibly demanding journey. It's easy to get caught up in the hustle and neglect your well-being, but that's a recipe for burnout.
You're preaching to the choir here. I know from experience that burnout is a real thing, and it can derail your progress faster than almost anything else. So what are some ways that founders can, like, prioritize their mental and physical health during this intense period?
It's about finding that balance between pushing yourself and knowing when to recharge. Make sure you're getting enough sleep, eating well, exercising regularly, and taking breaks when you need them. Don't be afraid to say no to things, delegate tasks, and ask for help when you need it.
I love that. It's not selfish to take care of yourself. It's essential. You can't pour from an empty cup, right?
Exactly. And remember, you're in this for the long haul. Building a successful business is a marathon, not a sprint. And you need to be at your best to lead your company to greatness.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground in this episode. We've talked about the importance of a strong foundation, building a killer team, leveraging technology strategically, prioritizing the customer experience, choosing the right funding, documenting your processes, tracking your KPIs, staying agile, investing in marketing, and taking care of yourself.
It's a lot to take in, but the key is to start somewhere. Choose one or two areas that resonate with you and focus on making small, incremental improvements over time. Remember, consistency is key when it comes to scaling.
Feels like we've covered everything but the kitchen sink when it comes to scaling a startup.
Yeah, we've hit a lot of key points for sure, but it's all about laying the groundwork for sustainable growth. And remember, you don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Right. That's what I love about these deep dives. We get to learn from the best, people who've already navigated these challenges and, come out on top.
It's like having a cheat sheet for entrepreneurial success without all the trial and error.
Exactly. So to wrap things up, let's zoom out for a second. We've talked about scaling in terms of revenue, team size, market reach, but what about scaling your impact?
That's a powerful question. As your company grows, how can you leverage your success to make a positive difference in the world? It could be supporting a cause you're passionate about, creating jobs in your community, or simply building a business that operates with integrity and sustainability.
So it's about thinking beyond just profits and growth and considering the bigger picture.
Absolutely. It's about building a company that not only succeeds, but also contributes to a better future.
I like that. That's a great note to end on. So for all you aspiring entrepreneurs out there, remember, scaling a startup is a journey, not a destination. There will be bumps in the road, unexpected detours, and maybe even a few flat tires along the way.
But that's all part of the adventure. And remember, you don't have to figure it all out alone. Learn from those who's come before you, build a strong team, leverage the power of technology, stay agile, and never lose sight of your customers or your impact on the world.
And who knows, maybe one day we'll be featuring your scaling story right here on The Deep Dive.
That's what we love to see. So keep dreaming big, keep innovating, and keep building awesome things that make a difference.
That's a wrap for today, folks. Until next time, stay curious, keep learning, and keep scaling.